Hi everyone, my name is Carolyn and I work on the Pinterest Partner Operations team. Every day I help businesses like yours find success with Pinterest, especially on promoted pins. So today we'll be covering two topics: Pinterest Analytics, which can be found on your free business account, and ads measurement using the dashboards found in your ads manager. So here are the agenda of the items that we'll talk through today. We'll go over Pinterest Analytics, then we'll talk about Ads Manager, conversion tags, and then go over some takeaways. So first I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Pinterest is a very popular platform for finding and shopping for products. It's very different from Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter because our users are actually on our platform every day looking for new ideas, new products, and new things to try. And actions on Pinterest are actually even more valuable. Um, Nowhere else can you actually save an ad and refer back to it later, but people on Pinterest are doing this. So whenever you run an ad campaign on Pinterest, you're not only getting the value that you paid for, you're also getting a lot of earned impression. How this works is someone came across your pin, your promoted pin, and they actually save it. That pin is now eligible to show up to their followers and people who share common interests with them. So there is a lot more downstream value that you're getting from a pin. We've seen that earned media actually doubles the incremental sales of a campaign long after it has ended. So now we'll dive into Pinterest Analytics, which is an awesome tool for you to find out what's trending, what people like most from your profile, and what people are engaged with on your website. So Pinterest Analytics is important because it allows you to evaluate how people are responding to your content, and it allows you to identify seasonal and audience trends that can guide you along when you're deciding how to launch your first promoted pin campaigns. So it's a good supplement to the data that we have in Ads Manager. Want to make sure that we cover the basics with definitions. So on Pinterest, an impression is defined as one pixel of a pin loading on a screen. So more high level, this is defined as the number of times your pin has showed up in a home feed, search results, or category feed. And this is important because the more impressions your pin is receiving, the more people are actually looking for that pin in search, home feeds, and categories. So it's a really good indication of what's trending in your target audience. Next is saves, which is formerly known as repins. This is a number of times someone actually saves one of your pins to their boards, enabling them to access it later, but also opening this pin up to even more discovery to followers and people who share common interests as the person who saved it initially. So this is really important because Pinterest is a unique planning tool for purchases, events, and occasions large and small. So people who save your pin are more likely to access it on a later date, go to your site, and make that conversion or purchase. When pins are saved, again, they are broadcasted to even more people who share common interests. So you can see a lot of downstream clicks happening long after you first posted that pin. Saves can also now be targeted when you run promoted pins. We have a new feature called engagement retargeting that allows you to reach people who have engaged or saved one of your pins in the past. Next is clicks. So this is pretty self-explanatory, but clicks are the number of times people actually click through on a pin and ended up on this website linked to it. Clicks are important because they indicate high intent. people who click through on pins are likely looking to make a purchase or take action on pins. So if you see a piece of content that's getting a lot of clicks, you should add more pins from your website that are similar to boost even more referral traffic from Pinterest to your site. So when you go into your Pinterest analytics, and you can access analytics from your drop-down on your business profile, you can see 3 different types of analytics that we offer. We offer profile analytics, people that you reach, and website analytics. So on profile analytics, you see data for all of the pins that you saved on your profile. So this includes both pins that you've saved to your profile and also pins that you saved from your site and also from other sites. So there are 3 tabs on each section of analytics: impressions, repins, which we now call saves, and clicks. So when you're in each section, make sure to toggle through these 3 views to see the data for each of these actions. Note that the graph on the right appears based on the date range that you select. So if you want to look at a whole month, make sure to use that calendar toggle button to select a whole month. And the top pins that are displayed below the graph are from the past rolling 30 days. So at this time, we show the top 50 pins from the last rolling 30 days. And if you like to take a closer look at the pins, you can actually click through to go to that pin. And on the right, you can see that there's little icons, R, and sometimes you'll see P. So this means that the pin was at one point rich, or if you see a P, it was at one point promoted. Next section is website analytics, which is personally my favorite part of Pinterest analytics. This gives you really valuable data on how pins that link back to your site are doing. So this not only includes pins that you added yourself to your profile that link back to your site, it also includes pins that people created directly from your website, whether that's through save buttons or the browser extension. So this is really great insights because you can see what content from your website people on Pinterest are most interested in. And if you haven't promoted them, it might be a good indication that you can drive a lot of traffic to your site by promoting them. So a quick note on website analytics. To make sure that you are indeed the owner of the website and should be able to access website analytics, we require you to confirm your site. So this can be done by going to your settings and generating a confirmation code, and then adding this tag to the head section of your homepage. And then you could go back to settings and let Pinterest know that you've added the tag. At this time, we can only confirm top-level domains, so we can't confirm Amazon or Etsy sites. And the reason for this is because you can't actually access the HTML code for those pages. We realize that this is a product limitation, and we're working on figuring out how to surface more data for these kind of sites in the future. If you are encountering issues confirming your site, definitely visit help.pinterest.com to read the instructions on how to confirm your site, and if you're still having trouble, you're welcome to reach out to our team. The next tab is the People You Reach tab. And you can access all of these under the Analytics dropdown on the top left-hand corner. I want to call out a really interesting dropdown in the top right-hand corner. In this example, you can see we're viewing data for this business's followers only. And you can see that the monthly viewers are at 1,258. I really want to call out that everyone should always toggle over to all audiences, because if you notice, this business is actually reaching far more people that aren't their followers than are their followers. To clarify, all audiences includes both follower activity as well as people that Pinterest show your content to because we know what they're interested in. So when businesses write in and let my team know that they don't have a lot of followers and they're concerned, I always point them to this page because you're reaching far more people than just your followers. Next, there's some really interesting demographic data below the fold to look at. You can see which people from different countries are interacting with your pins, what metro locations, gender, and also what their other interests are. So if you're trying to think of, blog campaign or, a way to position your content, you can look at what other interests your audience is into. And a quick overview of the definitions. Viewers are defined as anyone who has seen at least one of your pins, and engaged means that anyone who has liked, repinned, what we call now save, or clicked on one of your pins. Now we'll dive into the Ads Manager. So to access your Ads Manager dashboards, simply hover over Ads on the top left-hand corner and go to Overview to look at data from the last 30 days, which is the screen shown here. Or you can actually select the actual campaign type you want to look at if you set up a traffic campaign, engagement campaign, or awareness campaign. So Ads Manager dashboards are super useful because you can track the performance of your campaigns and promoted pins against your business goals, and then use these insights to tweak your campaigns and promoted pins to optimize them to better hit your goals. We also offer conversion tracking to see how many sales, signups, and page views are driven from promoted pins to your business. So if you actually hovered over ads and you selected traffic campaign, you'll hop into the traffic campaign dashboard. This dashboard shows you the performance for all of your traffic campaigns. And again, it defaults to a 2-week look back. If you want to look at a different time period, make sure to use this calendar date picker to toggle the dates. On this dashboard, there are a few definitions that I want to call out. First is CTR, which means click-through rate. So click-through rate is defined as clicks on your promoted pins over the number of impressions that your promoted pins received. So in general, we've seen that between a 0.2 and a 0.3% click-through rate is pretty healthy. That means that people are seeing your pins and they're finding it relevant and they're clicking through to learn more about it. If at any time you see that the CTR is dropping below 0.2 or in 0.1%, it may be time to try to think of ways to optimize your keywords or your pin creative. Next is eCTR, which is very similar to CTR, but includes the earned free impressions and clicks that you received. So earlier when I mentioned when people save your pins, they're actually shown to even more people. So when your promoted pins are saved, they're actually shown to a lot more pinners, and all of these clicks and impressions are free. Next is CPC, which is the cost per click on your promoted pins. That's how much you're paying for someone when someone clicks through on the pin and lands on your website. Again, eCPC includes the earned downstream clicks that you receive. Similarly, for engagement campaigns, the metrics to look at are engagement rate, which is the number of engagements over the impressions that your promoted pins received. We also have an engagement rate, so effective engagement rate, which includes that downstream activity, earned activity. CPE is the cost per engagement, and ECPE is a cost per engagement on your pins, including earned downstream engagements. So now that you have a high-level overview of your campaigns, you can actually click through on the campaigns themselves and then click on the promoted pins within those campaigns to really dive in on the performance of your promoted pins. So here is an example of a promoted pin dashboard. This dashboard shows you for this specific pin, Mad Love for Mandela's pin, how you're doing in terms of cost per click, click-through rate, and also the engagements like the saves and the clicks that you're getting for each of the targeting: interests, keywords, locations, languages, devices, or genders. So as an optimization tip, I highly suggest 1 week after you launch your campaign to actually click through and look at your promoted pin dashboards to see, which interests and keywords are working for you, which ones aren't working, and replace the ones that are underperforming with new keywords and interests that are related to ones that are performing really well. Keep in mind that when you edit your targeting, your pins will go back into ad review, which will take 1 business day. However, I do highly suggest optimizing after a week of launching your campaigns to make sure that your pins are hitting your business goals and are spending the most efficiently. Next, I'll cover conversion tags. So conversion tags are a really great way to track cross-device conversions and also to see how many sales, signups, page views Pinterest is driving to your website. So to create a conversion tag, go to the ads dropdown in the top left and click on conversion tracking. On that page, you can actually generate a code for 4 different types of tags: page views, signups, checkouts, or custom actions. And whenever you create a conversion tag, you have the ability to attribute the conversions to 3 actions: clicks, engagements, which is defined as saves and close-ups, and views. And for each of these high intent signals, you can select an attribution window that you want to assign to it. So we allow attribution windows between 24 hours and 60 days. So I'll give an example. I could create a checkout conversion pixel, and I can assign a 30-day click attribution window, a 30-day engagement attribution window, and a 7-day view attribution window. So what does this mean? I'll briefly cover how attribution actually works on Pinterest, which is pretty important. It's slightly different than some other platforms. So we attribute conversions back to the day of the initial action was taken on the promoted pin. And we also include downstream activities on the pin after the campaign has ended. If one or more action was taken on a promoted pin, for example, if someone clicked on it and saved it, the conversion will be attributed to the click first, and then if there was no click, it would be attributed to the engagement, the save or close-up. And then if there was no save or close-up, then the view, in that order. And it will respect the attribution windows that you set for each of these actions. We will not report the same conversion for 2 actions. We'll always select just one. Again, conversion reporting does account for downstream activity. What do I mean by downstream activity? So when someone saves a promoted pin and that pin is broadcasted to even more people on Pinterest, that pin is a downstream activity. When someone takes action on not the promoted pin itself, but a copy of it that was saved, that is free value that you are receiving, but Pinterest will continue counting the conversions generated from that pin. So as a tip, since Pinterest is a place where people go look for new ideas and discover things and plan things for later events or future purchases, We highly suggest looking at an attribution window of with 30-day click and 30-day engagement window. For views, you can set a shorter window because that means someone just looked at your pin. But we've seen that setting at least a 30-day click and a 30-day engagement gives a more accurate portrayal of the conversions that Pinterest is generating for your business. So I'm going to give an example here. Say my business sets a 30-day click, 30-day engagement, and 1-day view attribution window for my checkout conversion tag that I implemented across all of my checkout pages. And I run a promoted pin driving traffic to one of my product landing pages containing this tag. My colleague Abby comes across my promoted pin and saves it on July 1st, and this counts as an engagement, but she never actually converts on the pin. My other friend Grace comes along Abby's pin in her home feed, and she clicks through on it on July 31st. And then she checks out on August 2nd. So in the Pinterest data export, when is a conversion attributed? So remember, on Pinterest, we attribute conversions to the day that the action was taken on the promoted pin. So here we have two actions on the promoted pin. Abby saved the pin on July 1st, but then Grace actually clicked through the downstream pin of the promoted pin on July 31st. She's the one who actually converted. So the answer is in the conversion reporting, the checkout will be attributed to Grace's click on July 31st, since we account for downstream conversions, and also Grace converted within a 30-day click attribution window. Great. So from this presentation, you've learned 3 things. One is how to use Pinterest analytics to find out what content is resonating with people on Pinterest. And then the second is how to use Ads Manager Analytics to track your performance, and a few tips on how to look at promoted pin data and optimize on keywords and interests. And then lastly is how to think about conversions on Pinterest, because Pinterest is a place where people come to plan things. So we need to leave a longer attribution window to truly capture the conversions that Pinterest is driving to your business. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do have other webinar recordings, and all of these can be found on our business blog. If you go to business.pinterest.com/blog and then search that page for the webinar blog post, you'll see all of the webinar recordings there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and happy pinning.